let's talk about prospecting or finding. How do you find these suckers? You got something to sell them, but if you can't find them, you can't show them what you got. So how do you find customers, clients, or if you're growing your organization, recruits? Now this does have to do with if you're in commission work or even if you're looking for people to add to your team at the employee level. How do you find people to work for you? What's the best way? In other words, you're going to be finding. People don't know how to do this because a lot of times they're in positions where they don't have to do a lot of it. But when it comes time where you need to expand, you need help, which is going to help it's going to happen if you're successful. It's like, how in the world to do it? Well, let's talk about, this is all in the arena of, whether you've heard the term or not, prospecting. Okay, prospecting. And this is a big time-wasting activity for a lot of people because what they do is the big thing they do is they waste time because they don't really know what works, and that's why we're doing this. This is all about showing you what works. So the result is, see, what people do is they spend time on what's easy. Like you're trying to fight a war without sending in soldiers, let's just have the planes fly in and drop bombs on them. And so in prospecting, you need to have the personal contact. These are people who are going to come into your world, and what works is totally different than what's easy. You want to get over on this side because the trouble here is you waste time. Now, I'm not going to spend 1 microsecond trying to save you from doing the wrong things because you'll probably be determined to find out for yourself what I'm telling you, because you're going to want the easy way out. That's what most people do. But I'm going to tell you what works. And you saw, if you've seen in the other videos, the activity jar. This really proved to me where, I spent 80% of my time on one style and I got 20% of the results. And I spent 20% because, again, I was trying to avoid doing the right way too, and I thought I was being smart. But what I spent 80% of my time on, I got 20% of the results. 20% of my time I spent on the right way, and I got 80% of my results. And what's the right way and the wrong way? Here's the 2 different ways of doing it. If you want to understand prospecting, you got 2 ways of going. You can either go what we call warm market, and market is who you know, or you can go cold market. These are people you don't know. Now, why would you go and you say, well, I don't want to go out and bother all these wonderful people that I know? Well, maybe you need to take a look at what you have to offer. Because if you're excited about it, it's valid, you're thrilled about it, maybe you want to go, you're not going to feel so bad about talking to people you know. And either, if not necessarily for them, but maybe to get a referral. They might, and just to get them to listen to what it is, to see what they think about it. At least they'll listen to you. That's the first thing. The warm market will listen. That is the number one. It's not like you're going to try and take advantage of the people you know, but they will listen. You need to be talking to people. You need to be circulating. You need to be out in the community. These words need to be coming out of your mouth. It's how you teach yourself. It's how you get better. You're practicing your craft. And the more you talk about it, the better you're going to get. More ideas are going to pop into your head. And so you spend less time finding people in the warm market than in here. Here you're going to spend all your time in the cold market, And you get the small percent. What happens is here you get small percent will listen, which means you have a huge percent of people who will reject you. They won't even let you open your mouth. They're not interested. Put my hands on my ears. I do not want to hear about it. And so let's talk about the cold. Now, cold, what is cold? See, you only got two ways to go. And it seems like the way to go, hey, let's run a newspaper ad. Let's run a newspaper ad. It's not that cold calls never, cold methods never work. It's not that they never work. It's that the percentages are so low. Every now and then, you can fish like I used to fish, and that is take a worm, put it on a hook, and throw it in a puddle of water somewhere. And if you do that enough time, eventually there'll be a fish that'll bite that worm. The worst fisherman in the world keeps throwing the hook in the water eventually. You don't know what you're fishing for. You don't know where you're fishing. You don't know how deep. You don't know anything about yours throwing a hook in the water. Well, you're going to find your percentages are very low. And you're going to have a lot, emotionally, it takes a big toll on you. Because you're getting rejected before you even get a chance to get in front of somebody. So it's very tough. And you're going to find that you only have so much emotional abuse you can take during a day, week, month. And if you spend all absorbing rejection, in the sales and prospecting, when you deal with the public, there's a certain amount of rejection. And it is emotionally tough to deal with the public because of the rejection factor. And if you're eating so much rejection here, you probably won't even get much. You'll give up before you get to the sale thing. But here's how we think it'll be easy. Newspapers. Let's get some flyers. Let's put them on all the cars at the mall. Yeah. Isn't that illegal? Well, suppose it was legal. It still doesn't work. Let's drop them out of airplanes. That seems to be... Let's hand print them and staple them to a telephone pole. That'll really bring brain surgery. Call this number. Yeah, that really implies professionalism. People really shop for things that they see advertised on telephone poles, flyers on their car at the mall, door hangers at their house. That'll work a little bit every now and then. Also, people think, well, I'll just call them on the phone. Yeah, I'll call them on the phone. Cold call them on the phone, or I'll do cold canvas knock on doors in the neighborhood. Cold calling house to house. I'll harass them house to house. Folks, that's not what professionals do. You can try it, but you're going to have a lot of abuse. And you're going to have a lot of very small return on your investment. Now, opposed to going out here and, postcards. That's another one, postcards. The trouble with these things is they appear to be so good, but what you really do is you wind up ruining. You know that you cannot saturate a market. You can't sell out a market where everybody in that town or that area has your product, but you can sure pollute your name. And the trouble with the cold calling is you ruin the name of your business, because there's going to be 99% of them that say no to you for everyone who says yes, at least that many. And as all the 99% is, look at those morons harassing, bothering me. Man, what a dirtball organization that must be. So that's the end result. You kind of soil or poison your name in the community. The way I would recommend you take a look at is what everybody does who survives in this business, and they work the warm market. Now, when I did my activity jar, and this is just people you know. Now, when I moved up to North Carolina, I did not know anybody. But you know them some way. They're at least an acquaintance. You've said hello to them. You've had a little conversation. acquaintance, whatever that is. You know them a little bit. All the way to close relatives, you know. And it's all low key. You're not trying to hustle them. You're just saying, hey, I want to show you something. See what you think of it. That's all it is. Well, they'll at least listen. Whereas these people, they just want to run. As soon as you open your mouth, they want to run. They just assume this is going to be bad. It's going to cost me money. Get out of here. So what I found when I went to North Carolina, I spent, out of the first 130 or 40 people I talked to, overwhelming majority of them, I did the cold calling because I didn't know anyone in North Carolina. And I did run newspaper. I ran a 13-week newspaper campaign. I never did this kind of junk. We went to the mall one time and cold called, and we got thrown out of Montgomery Ward's. So I put a pox on that, and eventually Montgomery Ward's went out of business. But I don't take personal credit for that. But anyway, they did throw us out. How dare we try and recruit some of their people? Never did the postcards either. But, you know, you bump into people. Mainly, I tried the newspaper ads. And occasionally you'll get somebody. You know, we got one or two good people. But I talked to, 120 knuckleheads, hour and a half apiece. So there's higher yield things, and of my 22 recruits that we got that year, I only got maybe 2 from the cold calling. But the other were people I bumped into. You're bumping into people, not only people you know, acquaintances or whatever, you bump into people. And like it says in Proverbs, if you want friends, show yourself friendly. So smile, ask some questions, get to know them, have a little casual conversation with them. In other words, make friends. Before you start trying to sell anything with anybody, make some friends. Talk to them a little bit. Smile, relax, get to know them. Even if you're in an area where you move to a new town, you can have yourself, how long does it take you to make a bunch of friends in a new town? Not that long. So you'll find that if you put your energy in the warm market, you're going to have probably 10 times more result than if you go up here and waste your time in the cold.